and we're going to figure out exactly what's going to come down. So bans already in here. KMT banning out Ari, Evelyn, first of all, and AT Gaming banning out Lee Sin and Vayne.
Okay, so yeah, we do actually have Nick 760 or 760. He actually plays a lot of Lee Sin, so I definitely want to take that away from him. But overall, I mean, it's just pretty standard bans that you would see from any other game. You don't really want to play against an Ari.
And speaking of standard bans, Twisted Fate. I mean,
now Shen's going to come in probably.
Probably, yeah. On the red side, unless they decide to leave it open, wondering if KMT will actually want to go for that first pick and then maybe pick it up in their first round. So we'll see that one. It'll actually be a Z ban here, which I think against a player like Overpower in particular, like he is that kind of player that loves to play and has in the past played brilliant assassins. I think Zed's a good ban here, but that does leave the Shen open for the taking for KMT.
And they're actually kind of taking their time here. So, I mean, I guess they were assuming that Shen would be banned out, so they're kind of like, do we want to pick him up? Do we want to go into this? Because it seems all too easy to pick him up. And we've seen Shen so many times at how much of a nuisance he can be in that top lane, that split pushing. Not to mention, if you go that Spirit Visage, that Sunfire Kate build, his cooldown is just crazy low, so you can ult in multiple times, but we're not going to see him, at least for now.
And that's what I thought, you know, leave the Shen open, maybe he gets through, and that's exactly what happened here. Zach going to be picked up for KMT. Expecting that to be a top lane, Zach, to be honest. But we'll have to see about that. Of course, 760 might end up switching that one out a little bit later on, but the Shen was locked in for AT. No messing around from their side of things. They know exactly what they want after that last round of picks. So what are they going to put in there with it?
Jarvan.
So much open.
There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say Jarvan, which is, I think, featured in pretty much every single game so far today, and for good reason. We talked about it earlier, you know, just his kit in general is overall very dynamically fantastic.
I like that description, because it's true. I mean, this whole kit is so perfect. I mean, you get attack speed from his standard, there we go.
His flag.
His flag. Took me a second to get there. I mean, they had armor on it originally, but that got removed. But still, extra attack speed for your AD carry, extra attack speed for taking objectives, and not to mention just the whole early game presence you have. You don't need your ultimate to apply a lot of pressure. You have your EQ combo, and you can really shut people down. But one thing I'm worried about is, which I think Wicked was very vocal about this, if I'm not mistaken, or was some other top laner that said, Zach for Shen, it's a very, very easy lane for Zach. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we might see some lane swaps coming in.
Well, we'll find that one out a little bit later on. What are KMT going to complement this Zach with? Obviously, all the AD carries outside of Vayne actually open up for this one. So, Caitlyn, Ezreal, Varus. One of those three for either team, I guess. That's pretty standard stuff these days, but we'll have to see if they go for anything funky. But I imagine that this Caitlyn may be finished and locked in here for KMT.
You know, I almost don't want to put it past Overpower, that if he does lock that in, that could be mid lane Caitlyn. I don't want to put it past him, but to me, it's not like a champion that's in style. Like, he likes these champions that get in your face, that really make big plays, and Caitlyn obviously wouldn't be one of those, but we're actually going to see Rumble locked in here. So
it's going to be a jungle Zach. This Rumble is something that Zazas has played a lot in the past. Intel Extreme Masters Brazil, brilliant Rumble player. He played a lot of it over there as well. So that's going to be coming in. And obviously that Caitlyn was locked in there as well for KMT. On the other side, obviously an AD carry and support might be what they think of next, which Sona available, the Zyra that they were hovering over is there as well. But one other champion that's gone through the bans and not been picked so far is the Thresh.
Yeah, that's actually very true. I completely forgot about that since I'm so used to seeing him first picked or banned away. And right now, I'm looking at AT Gaming's lineup, and one thing really comes to mind is the fact that they don't have a lot of damage. Having like a tank top laner and having a tank jungler pretty much, you kind of lack quite a bit on that. So you're going to need a high DPS AD carry. You're going to need a high DPS mid laner. We've already seen earlier on today just how it could kind of hold you back if you don't get a good start. If you get a bad start in that kind of team, you're going to stay behind a little bit, but they do go for some champions here.
Yeah, Lulu, Varus, and KMT, oh my god, Sona, we can pick that one up. We'll have Sona in the team. But Lulu, Varus, we'll see what they combine that with for the mid lane. Something like Lissandra, maybe, who is going to be right in the middle of the team. Going to be able to either lock someone down or, you know, mini Zonya herself to stay invulnerable there. And then have a wild growth as well from Lulu is another very big possibility. Of course, Shen and Jarvan are going to be right in the middle of them as well, so they're already prime targets for that. Over for KMT, they still need to pick their mid laner as well.
I'm thinking Orianna might be a very likely possibility for KMT here because you have that Zac initiate. We saw that earlier on today. You put the ball on him, the whole ball delivery system, you keep them there, you knock them up, and then you have the whole Rumble ultimate just follow up on top of that. Wouldn't actually be a bad lineup. And it also means that Caitlyn will just be sitting there free attacking because won't be worried about anyone really diving on you since the other team has to deal with your front line.
And well done, Jason. Orianna, it's going to be Karthus.
Don't take it back. Keep it well done. Makes me feel good.
Orianna, it's going to be Karthus, which, you know, he's another one of those, get in the middle of the team, do as much damage as you can, die, still do as much damage as you can. So, you know, that's what they're going to be obviously aiming for with that overpower going to play. Now, this time around, what are AT Gaming going to finish off with?
You know, I don't think we're going to see it here, at least in this game, but we saw a resurgence of Fizz coming out lately, especially last week in the last week of CS. And
yeah,
in solo queue, I'm sorry to everyone in solo queue because that thing's been spammed constantly mid lane, I've been seeing. But Fizz is a really strong pick against Karthus. However, with their whole composition, it wouldn't be terrible, but it looks like we actually could see a mid lane Zyra as AP.
And again, that for me makes quite a lot of sense. You're going to have the Zac and you're going to have the Karthus right in there. You can knock them up with those Stranglethorns and obviously root them down as they come diving in. So it is going to be that AP Zyra in the mid lane. Pretty much everyone picking for themselves, funnily enough, around that in the AT Gaming team, except the mid lane and support who swap over. KMT, though, I really like their lineup. Xaxus, we know, has got a phenomenal Rumble. 760 with Zac, yet to see him here, obviously, since this is their first game, but everyone who brings Zac to the jungle, you've obviously got a big understanding of how he works. And those flyby, I don't want to call them drive-bys because they're literally flybys with the smite that you can pull off on Dragon, and even on Baron as well if you're really pro, are always going to be dangerous. Plus the gank potential, you can come out of nowhere with the Zac.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm still looking, I wish we saw an Orianna. Because first of all, I would have been right, and I would have felt good about myself. But second of all, because the whole ball delivery system, it just fits so well. But still, with Karthus, with a Rumble to give Karthus the opportunity to actually catch up and get into the middle of that team, it's going to be very high. It's going to be very nice for him. And over on the other side, you have really good disengage. You also have really good engage with the Lulu, with the Jarvan, with the Shen, and then also with the Zyra Grass Roots if you do land it. So it's up to AT Gaming if they want to go for an engage, or they just kind of want to play defensive and disengage if they need to, which you kind of have to do against a Rumble. You can't really afford to fight on top of his ultimate, so you have to be able to run away, and they have a pretty decent lineup for that.
Yeah, and well, the Zac's obviously going to be bouncing in there. We'll see what they can do with this Rumble ultimate overall, but AT Gaming, just a quick adjustment of the chair there, which I think he went down and then straight back up to where he was sat, so not really making much of a difference. But this is a team that is not on the radar for a lot of people, as I think KMT are as well. Obviously, back when they were known as a Nexus, they played some big tournaments, but AT Gaming are nothing to laugh at right now. They've come through the qualifiers, got into this position. They actually won a LAN event over at Fragomatic where they beat Lone Lions in the final not so long ago. So now this is a team with some real potential coming out, and they're going up against KMT, a best of three. Best chance that you've really got a best of three to winning, even if you feel like you're the underdogs in a game. A best of three is always the best way.
Yeah, and I think the thing is for a Nexus, or not Nexus, KMT now, is that they've been to so many different tournaments, but have they ever won any of them? And they haven't, and that might be a big mental block for them where, you know, they just group up and say, guys, you know, we haven't been able to really win something, at least get first place in it, but this is the time to make it happen. So either work out for them or work out against them. And AT Gaming, I mean, I want to say they're coming in as the underdogs overall.
I think so.
But still, being the highest ranked challenger team here today is nothing to scoff at.
So, what are we going to see from level 1? Jarvan, free temporary ward, basically, that you have with the flag. And they check out there over at the side, see if they can spot Zac. But wards down on the top side of the map here from KMT. And honestly, quite defensive wards as well. On that curved brush at the start, right up in that top brush. One on the bottom side on their ramp. And wouldn't surprise me to see them stick a ward down straight into that tri-bush as well and really just defend off from any possible invade that AT Gaming might throw at them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a best of three, so you have to keep in mind, neither of these teams want to lose their first game. So from that, just play safe, play cautious, play your own game, and hopefully come out with the win in the first one of this set. But you're definitely right. I mean, we see KMT, they've invested a lot of ward coverage for Karthus. And you see him start a Sapphire Crystal, which we never really see, ever, out of any mid laner anymore. They usually go for the Dorn's Ring on a Karthus most likely, or maybe you go for the Fairy Charms with the health pots and the wards, but with this ward coverage, they want to make sure that he has an easy time in lane and that Spike Nike can't take advantage of that.
Yeah, and he should have a pretty easy time. At least he's going to be able to throw those late waves out a lot more, obviously, than maybe before with that extra mana coming in. Bottom lane, it looks like we're going to be having standard lanes. Duos down bottom. Obviously, the Shen versus the Rumble up at top.
Yeah, so actually, I would imagine that Zaza should be able to take Doris quite easily in lane with that Rumble. You have the ability to just harass him with your Q while you're sitting in the middle of the minion waves. Not to mention, you have that slow, which is really crucial, but you don't really have an escape mechanism other than your W, that shield to kind of speed you up and escape. And he does have a ward top lane, so it'll be hard for Spike Knight to actually gank that lane right now. But with a Shen, you can never underestimate that flash taunt coming out.
Yeah, flash taunt always going to be a real possibility. And actually, Shen has hit level 2 in that top lane before Rumble did, only very slightly, and obviously without the jungler there, not going to be able to capitalize on that just yet, but we do see Spike Knight headed up into that top lane, double buffs running for him. See if he can catch Zazas out of this one.
It's going to be a very crucial point in the game, because if they can blow that flash, if they can kill Zazas, then Doris is going to have such an easy time in that top lane when he goes for that early Spirit Visage. And right now, Spike Knight is committing a lot of time into this top lane right now. But the wave's pushing up against Zazas, so if anything, they're going to go for a dive on the turret. But here we go. We actually might see him go in here, and you do see the taunt come in.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, flash away from Zazas. To be honest, Spike Knight a little bit slow to react to that one. I think he wanted to wait until that taunt had timed out before he got the knock-up to chain it as well, but I think both together would have done better for them.
I think he was also waiting to see if 760 was there in that top lane to kind of counter-gank that, and he wanted to be able to turn that around. But still, yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, if he got it a little bit earlier, might have been able to hit that knockup, might have been able to get some good damage onto him, because he has that red buff, he has that slow. And right now, 760 is going to be staying on his own pink ward here, trying to go for a gank on this bottom lane.
Well, let's see if he can actually get in there. The elastic slingshot already got 2 ranks in it here as well, so it's going to be dangerous for them. It's all about then whether the supports can actually get around and do much with it from this position. Super is just hanging back, and here we go. Charge up. Are they going to get over? They go on towards Sliver, who will instantly flash away from that one. Glitterlands comes out from Lulu, and they're able to stop that gang right in its tracks. But flash burnt there from Sliver, and that means that Zac can come back, especially with that pink ward in the tri-bush.
Yeah.
They've got complete vision control there.
I'm actually really surprised he went for that flash. I mean, you had Barrier, you had the Glitterlands, which is practically a stun or a snare. I mean, it's 80% slow, and you usually should have been able to escape that, but still, like you said, big summoner committed to there, and we could definitely see 760 come back down into this bottom lane to maybe pick up a kill. But right now, look at that CS lead that Celavar has bottom.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit surprised. I mean, Celavar is ahead by a decent amount here, but I'm quite surprised that he's not done more harassment, because the fact is here, he does have that Sona support with him. He can heal that damage back that he takes when he harasses. But that's not something that Slither has to his luxury. Yeah, he's got a Doran's Blade, he's going to get a bit back, but can't really compare that whatsoever. Right now, Spike Knight is waiting for Zazas, who doesn't have a flash actually coming out there with the Flame Spitter. And Spike Knight here just wondering, what's the best time to come into this one? Do I wait or do I go now? Without a flash, there we go. That's probably the position he wants, as we are going to see the sliding. Doesn't get the knock-up. Can they land the taunt onto him? Deciding there, Doris, not to go for it.
760's here on the side, though. He came out through lane. He was actually kind of expecting that gank to come in and wanted to be able to turn it around. And Spike Knight, if you waited a little bit longer, that could have been the death of them. And honestly, that could have been that first blood that we're still waiting for about 6 minutes in. And committed a lot of time towards the top lane. He already got the flash shot. He wanted to go for that gank again, but unfortunately it didn't really work out for him. In 760, he's going to be able to sneak in here. But right now, Doris has to know something's up. Like, why would Zazas push this far out without a ward, without a flash?
Exactly. And it's pretty obvious in my eyes here for Doris. And should be able to, even if things really go bad for him, Shadow Dash himself away. Does, of course, have a flash available, which is not something that Zazas has right now. And we see that 760 realizes that that is going to be the case, decides to back completely off. AT Gaming doing a really good job here of actually holding that lane pretty much underneath their own tower right now, so that they've got that guaranteed CS, that they're not scared of the Zac coming around.
But we are starting to hit those level 6 points. You know, Overpower, he's 6. He has his ultimate available. He can interact with every single lane. Sliver and Millie Fiore will be 6 very soon, so we could see that Chain of Corruption engage, or Super Ace, who's level 4 right now. He's actually a little bit behind. He's going to be getting close to that crescendo, which, honestly, we've seen so many times how effective it can be if you land it onto 3, 4, even 5 people.
Yeah, and the fact that overpower, you know, you don't have to do quite as much damage when you've got a Karthus on your team. That's just the luxury that you have with having him in that mid lane. One thing that I think is going to find hard here is to really push through the plants of Zyra. Is possibly going to have a hard time with that, but Leiwei's got a decent range to it as well here, so probably should be able to work through that. If we look at the CS, he's actually leading it right now as well, so doing a great job.
Yeah, he's been farming up his own race with that tier, with the almost a catalyst right now. He's able to do that, and yeah, I mean, I like how you brought up the plants, because that is a huge portion of Zyra's damage. And if you think about it, Lei Waste, you have to do it 3 times on a plant. Like, they're not affected, or you can only hit it for 1 damage each time, basically, just like wards. And it means he'd have to commit a lot of mana to really get that kill on the plant unless he wants to auto-attack it down. And he does have that sort of advantage, and I wouldn't be surprised right now if he sits in this middle lane until the end of this blue buff duration, just farming up as much as possible.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you can always get involved with your Requiem as well if that gets called in. But up until now, not really had that many close-cut events, to be honest. No one's really gone super dangerously low, really anywhere across the board. I think Spike Knight was about the lowest that we've seen in the jungle there, going about his path. But a pretty passive game here right from the very start, and rightly so. First game of a best-of-3, you win this one, then you've got 2 more games to seal a victory. It's a big thing, both obviously statistically in a best-of-3, but also mentally.
Yeah, especially since AT Gaming, like from what I remember, they haven't really been in front of big crowds or played on big stages against teams, and that might be one thing that kind of hurts them as we get into the game later on. But you're definitely right. Mentally, you need to be in the right frame of mind if you want to be able to win the best-of-3 here. And right now we see 760 visiting this bottom lane again. No wards in there, but we have both junglers down to his bottom lane. It looks like he's going to go in.
Oh, this could end up being a first blood as Super Ace is going to take damage. Here comes the Requiem, but Super Ace is going super low, and he's having to try and walk away from this one. There is a Dragon Strike to finish off first blood coming down from Spike Knight. The rest of the team able to escape from that one, but you see, even with the Requiem, AT Gaming able to get out of that with pretty much, well, I mean, it's Sliver that went the lowest. It means at half HP. Really well done.
If KMT waited about 10 seconds longer, Sona would have been 6, and they would have been able to turn that around completely. They went in when he wasn't, and obviously, as we saw, Lulu was able to use her ultimate there. But I seriously think, like 10, 15 seconds longer, they would have had the crescendo up. They would have easily had probably a triple kill in the end, because they had the flash down, or the flash eventually down for Spike Nike. And that might be nerves. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication, maybe a little bit of nerves.
Yeah, certainly didn't realize that Jarvan was there, which was also a massive part of that one. This top lane, though, since we saw those ganks earlier on, it's been pretty much Rumble pushing the lane up against Shen's turret, which Doris obviously doesn't have a problem with. He's up to 75 CS, got that cowl in there now as well, so he's pretty solid against this Rumble. Shouldn't be having too many problems with it.
And the thing is, if he gets hit by 1 tick of the Q of Rumble, the Spectre Cow's going to heal him for more damage than he took. So in the end, he pretty much has like potential infinite health as long as he plays his cards right. But obviously Xaxis isn't going to just let 1 tick go through. He wants to be able to hit him as much as possible. And that cow, I love the addition of that item in 3.10. It's just so strong. Like, it allows the building of such early maps as this, which we're expecting him to go for that Spirit Visage as his first major buy.
So a bit more of a quiet period. If we look at gold, it's only 100 difference here. We are going to see Equalizer put down there, and that's a signal that Xaxis finally wants to really go home here. Just clearing out that wave, using Equalizer, and he will completely back away from this one. Right now, Millefiori just trying to put down as much damage as he can on towards Celever and Super A's and try and force them away, but honestly, not really much to say about that one. AT Gaming, though, have got that vision control down in this bottom lane, so that opens a lane gank once again here for Spike Knight.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does visit it, because he is level 7. He does have that ultimate up yet again. Enchanted Corruption's available, as well as Lulu's ultimate. Right now, this is like one of the first times that AT Gaming's been able to push out past this halfway point in this bottom lane.
Let's see if they can continue that. Karthus has almost got his Rod of Ages now finished off, which going to make him less susceptible to any pressure in that mid lane. But so get things ticking and get that up to its full speed. Tear of the Goddess obviously was finished earlier for him as well, so he's getting that stacked up. Over on the other side, Sorcerer Shoes pulls a blasting one, Doran's Ring. What Zyra's gone already hurts with those plants.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see if he's going to go that Burning Bush build that some riders made pretty popular over in North America, but you kind of forget about her plants. Like you really do in these team fights, and when you use the ultimate when the plant's already down, you power them up even more, and with the Zyra as AP middle, you can almost expect a very early Baron coming out of AT, just because you can put those 4 plants down, you can get 6 down eventually, and they can tank the Baron and do a lot of damage to it.
Well, let's talk about Dragon, I think, before Baron. But right now, Spike Knight actually headed up in towards his top lane. What's Zazas going to do? A very early flash there, but actually got out of range of the knock-up, and he's really well done for him there to actually avoid any possibility of himself going down.
That was really weird. So Zazas, he flashed away, dodged a Shadow Dash, which is understandable, but you saw Spike Nike not actually Cataclysm him. He had no flash to escape. They had the damage to probably kill him, but I think that's just due to where Zazas went. Because he went down through the river, they were maybe expecting that 760 was on his way up to kind of turn that one around, but in the end, I mean, good job by Zazas to stay alive.
And the good thing is, from 760's point of view, he doesn't really have to be that close to actually jump and get himself involved in that, thanks to that range on his Elastic Slingshot. So we see blue buff here being done by Zyra, letting the plants do all the work. And again, we move back to that more passive farming stage. Actually, you can see that KMT actually head now ahead in the CS. That's thanks to that mid lane, the jungle as well, which is 20 CS ahead.
Yeah, and if they keep this up, I mean, they're farming pretty well, and I have to give Doris credit. I mean, he's farming phenomenally well on that Shen, 102 CS. And with that early lead, I mean, a Karthus who doesn't get interrupted, which he hasn't even been ganked middle yet, but if he doesn't get interrupted, keeps farming up really well, gets those items that he needs, his damage is just ridiculous as the game goes on. But right now, Spike Nike's heading up towards his top lane. He was spotted by a ward, and it looks like Zazas will be able to back away in time.
Yeah, ward already coming in. He's used his equalizer, which tells me that he's going to be going home anyway. Spike Knight there having the same feelings about that one, so he will back completely away. There we see Zac actually coming down towards his bottom lane. Not exactly Mr. Inconspicuous there, just walking straight through. They know you're there.
He almost blends in with the ground and the trees. Almost. About the same color. And I was actually curious why he was down there. I mean, he's staying right next to Miniwave. Didn't hit any of them. Didn't level. I don't know. But we're going to see Dragon potentially start up here very soon. And why not? I mean, you have Doris. He's level 10. He has an ultimate to get down here. He has that cooldown reduction from that Kindle gem. And as long as you can keep Karthus out of the middle of that fight, then you should be able to do pretty well, especially since Zazas doesn't have that ultimate up, since he just used it top lane to farm up.
Saw the damage coming out there as well from the plants on towards Zac at the back of that Baron pit, and that's gonna be a problem for them as well. I think a lot of people really underestimate the damage that an AP Zyra can bring to a game. So
I think that's due to the fact that you don't see very many of them anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other person that I know always runs Zyra, or a lot of the time, is Kowtar, which is currently on the other stage, and Morden. Exer, sorry, I was going to get it eventually from the old Giants team back in the spring split of LCS.
Yeah, not many people running that these days, although that damage potential is incredibly high. There's Spike Nike up at the top lane, stood right on top of a ward. Zazas shouldn't have any problems getting away from that 1-1 now that he knows that that Jarvan is actually there and could possibly come his way. Requiem, we've not really seen being used much, only that one time, and that shows you just how defensive this game is. However, Spike Knight has actually come in towards River, and look at this. Zazas thinks he's actually gone down, but he's not. He's up in this top lane, he's up in this top brush right now, and Zazas may be in trouble. There's the equalizer going down. They're going to burn from it inside of that one, and there is a Requiem. Zazas getting the 1 kill. He does die to Doris in the end, but that will be a 1-for-1. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Let's Bounce comes in. This is tied up brilliant there as Super Ace dies to Millie Fiora. Stan United coming down. That will save the support. They lost the AD carry, and we end up with a 2-for-2.
And just as we were talking about that Requiem not coming into play too much, you see it coming in that top lane, but he doesn't even get the assist. And a fantastic job by Zez right there to burst Spike Knight down. He did not expect that much damage coming his way. And
I did.
Yeah, neither did I. And one thing that I like to see out of Varus right now, most Varuses we see a Bloodthirster, Last Whisper come in, and then Infinity Edge is next combo, as we do see a nice taunt onto Celavar, but he's going for a Blade of the Rune King as his lifesteal item. And I can kind of understand that. I mean, yeah, you can do a lot of poke with that Bloodthirster, but when you have a Rumble trying to get on top of you, when you have a Zac trying to jump on you, and you have a Karthus trying to get on top of you, the extra movement speed you get from that makes you kite a lot easier. It gives you a little bit of a burst heal as well, and that's what he's going to need in these fights since he doesn't really have any other escape mechanism.
So, the way this game's gone, I'm pretty sure we're going back into a quieter phase.
I think so, yeah.
And that's just how things have really gone between these two teams here. Now, first matchup of this best of 3. currently Celiva coming back into lane with that Infinity Edge now. See what damage he can do with that. Well, Overpower, despite the constant pressure in this mid lane from those grasping roots and the plants that come out of it, is actually pretty far ahead considering that.
Yeah, I mean, we're only 17 minutes in, and he's going to hit that 200 mark right now, and I think he would have liked to push the turret a little bit harder, but against a Zyra with... Ooh, he's actually going to get caught!
Yeah, they're going to go in here. There's a flash coming straight out. Grasping Roots will actually land straight on towards Zac, and well, not too much danger for him there in overall.
And just as we were talking about in the pregame, how as a Zac, you don't really even need to be near the lane you're actually going to gank. He jumped from the Wraith camp over the wall into River and stopped and hit him. That was just ridiculous, and that's the distance you get on that elastic slingshot.
So Jarvan's actually waiting in this bottom lane right now, but he stood right on top of a ward, pretty much wasting his time at this point. There's no chance that KMT are going to get caught out by that one.
Smart play to actually back away and just farm up those golems. And I was trying to say earlier that Overpower, I mean, I think he would like to push the turret a little bit more, but since you're against a Zyra, which the plants, they killed minions very quickly. Your grasping roots with your Q does very well. Kind of stops him from having that ability to split push, or to push. But then again, I mean, if Zyra's pushing back that hard, then it makes it so Overpower doesn't have to extend too far, and the possibility of a gank is very unlikely.
Well, there's the blue buff going over to Zyra. I'll be spamming constantly. He actually pretty much got that Rabadon's death cap complete at this point. And we are going to see AT Gaming here make a move for Dragon. Now, this is interesting because this will set the teams apart by a decent amount for pretty much the first time in the game. And AT are going to pick that one up, and that gives them around about a 500-600 gold lead.
And that was a brilliant response too, because Overpower, we saw Jansen actually see him go in for his own blue buff. He knew the timer on it, and they're like, all right, well, I can get blue a little bit quicker, and then we should take Dragon right away because we know the threat of a Karthus won't be there. So great game awareness. That death cap is definitely be done when he goes back, and the damage he's going to put out in these fights is just going to be ridiculous.
Now, we'll see if AT can actually hold this one, because the deficit that they had is only really from farm at this stage. They got more kills on the event, but they've actually fallen behind in the farm. So that's something that they may become stronger at once these items actually start being built up for them. You can see that Overpower just stacking his tier there in mid lane. He's got that blue buff on. He's like, well, I'm going to use it. Cooldown reduction. Get that all running up, getting that stacked up. But this first tower might bring us right back even, or even swing the gold over towards KMT if they make a move for it now.
Spike Knight, he is heading down from spawn. He's going to be coming out to that bot lane to defend it here, and should be able to hold on to it. And Overpower, I mean, I think all of KMT realizes that he needs that Xerath's Embrace done as soon as possible, because the damage that's going to be put out against him, he's going to need that extra shield coming in to save him. Right now we see Spirit Fist is done for Doris, has that cooldown reduction, has that match resist and the extra regen, with also a Sunfire cape almost done for him. So his ability to push back against Xaxis, even though he's already ahead in farm, is really going to kind of skyrocket here. And Spike Knight showing bottom, it means 760 is going to have to come down here and help defend.
Yeah, and a fallback ping being brought in for this one. That turret is so low there that they could have that one away. Zyra has, by the way, just finished off that Rabadon's death cap. Got a second blasting wand in there as well now. Really interested to see, number one, when we get to a team fight stage, and number two, how this really goes down, because this Zyra is going to be very crucial to it.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate coming out of it, if you can hit it perfectly, at least in the right position with the zoning potential you can pull off, you can pretty much have Karthus and Zac separated from the rest of their team. So Silverwire won't be able to run in, won't be able to do any damage, and you can take a look. Actually, we do see the ultimate come out of Varus.
Yeah, Chain of Corruption comes down there. Celiva trying to get away. Actually will net away. There is the barrier coming down, but by the time that's gone, Spike Knight able to burst through it. And that will be another kill coming in here for AT Gaming.
Cyber with that flash, Chain of Corruption coming out, nailing it perfectly here. Now we see Overpower might go down.
Wow, that was a lot of damage coming straight out there. Stranglethorns actually got away from there by Overpower in the end. Used his flash to make sure he avoided them, because that was pretty much certain death. Now, AT going to try and push the damage back on towards this bottom turret as 760 dives in there, gets polymorphed up, and they're not going to be able to stop this happening. We will see Requiem coming down, but that's not even going to be enough to force them off that turret. Never mind think about getting a kill.
Yeah, I think that was very defensive ultimate out of him.
It was very late if it was.
Well, he wanted to make, yeah, so I think 760 expected them to dive him under the turret, but they just kept attacking it. They just took it down. Now Overpower might get dove here, but they kept hitting it, and with that, Overpower, yeah, he's going to die here.
Yeah, he's dead. We are going to see Jansen actually get away from that one. Overpower will die, of course, there in the end. And, well, That's the danger of the Zyra. One grasping roots, and it's pretty much a free kill when you've got that kind of HP at the end. Obviously, Requiem was used a little bit earlier on, and that just shows the danger that this Zyra really has, at least in this 1v1 against Karthus. It's not really that much of a competition.
Yeah, and considering that they were getting out-farmed in quite a few of the lanes, AT Gaming's been doing a great job of roaming around, picking up kills, and that's something that right now KMT hasn't really been able to do. Even with the Zac, 760 hasn't really been that effective in these ganks. He hasn't had that opportunity to really make them happen. Usually, it's just him reacting to where Spike Knight's going.
So, Melifiori, no need to put a pink ward down by Dragon. That, of course, was taken just a little while ago, but with that Ruby Sightstone in there, he's like, bam, 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 bam. We got vision on this bottom side of the map. No problem on that front. And see that although Slither is a little bit behind from this one, he should be able to bring that CS lead right back into his favor.
Yeah, and that Blade of the Rune King is done for him, so Slither's going to have the ability to kite really well in these team fights. However, Celavar has the Infinity Edge done. You know, about 20 minutes in, that's actually a fantastic time for him.
Since 16 minutes.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's exactly what they need out of him, and he has the Zeal coming in with that, so he's going to be going for that Blade of the Rune King, or not Blade of the Rune King, the Phantom Dancer next, which is going to really help out. However, Doris is so tanky. 194 farm. Sunfire Cape almost done. He's sitting on 1,400 gold to back with, so he will have that done when he goes back. And if he builds like a Randuin's Omen next, he's just going to sit on top of Celavar, and he won't be able to take him down. And that's going to be a huge amount of damage that KMT is going to miss out on. However, you know, they do have a Rumble. They are running a 3 DPS composition, where on the other hand, ATs are only running 2.
But they may have the tankiness to get through a lot of that, and that's could be a big factor coming into this next team fighting phase. There's a couple of turrets now down for AT and one over for KMT, which probably means that we're going to see a little bit more movement around. We can see the minimap, a lot of wards down, pretty much a full line of wards from AT Gaming, even investing those pink wards to make sure that they keep control of that. And we are going to see the first oracles of the game coming out here as well for Melifiori, as he heads down and starts to clear things out.
Yeah, Joe, this is like the type of game, starts off slow, and then it gets really explosive very quickly. Like, all the fights we've had so far have been just out of nowhere, all of a sudden happening with a couple of kills coming in, and I think it's going to continue to be like that. Dragon will be up in about 10 seconds here, and I think AT Gaming, they're all set to go for it. I mean, you have Zazas coming down. They want to be able to contest it here, but Doris is just farming top lane, and he's level 15. If he hits at 16 before the ultimate, he's going to have a really short cooldown. He has the ability to split push while at the same time applying pressure at this Dragon.
Now there we see actually Cataclysm use here in that mid lane. Zaza's going to get himself polymorphed up there. Grasping Roots miss. There comes the equalizer, but Zac jumping in towards the back line. He's going to bounce straight through things, and now they could be in trouble here, AT. This is a lot of damage coming down. Requiem's going to do the work as well, and in the end, doesn't actually pick him up a kill there. He got interrupted. I was going to say, what happened to that one? It won't actually matter in the grand scheme of things, though, because KMT come through. That's without the Requiem damage, picking up an ace for nothing. And as you said, getting explosive so very quickly. They're going to turn full Baron 25 minutes in after being behind for quite a while.
That was such a good attempt by Doris to stop that Requiem from coming down, but just like you said, didn't matter in the end. They were able to pick up all those kills, and now picking up a 25-minute Baron. They were down, you know, one Dragon. They were down 2 turrets, and they just skyrocketed through gold. Their items are going to be coming in very soon, because they're all sitting on over 1,000 gold at this point, and they should be able to have a free middle turret off of this.
Yeah, they are going to take this turret. They're probably going to have Dragon away as well. So an ace, a Baron, a Dragon, and the turret from this one as well. It doesn't really get much better 25 minutes into a game than picking up those 3 objectives, to be honest. And obviously the ace on top of that, that Dragon will go down. That's going to be a ton of gold to go with. Every single person outside of the support got over 1,500 gold to go back with and spend, which means Death Cap going to be in there for Karthus. Well, just a whole host of stuff is going to come out. We see Locket of the Iron Solari being picked up, Leandri's Torment for Rumble. Bad times now for AT, just like that.
Yeah, and that's how quickly a game can turn. Just as we were mentioning about how explosive the game can get, I don't know where this big fight breaks out, a lot of objectives taken, and that's kind of mistake that you make, that you really, not shouldn't, but you really cannot afford to have in a game where the other team can kind of carry this through. And, you know, most pro teams, if they get an advantage like that, if they get that many things all at once, then they're going to take the game. Like, there's no doubt about it, unless they make a major mistake, which right now, AT Gaming, they do still have a lot of damage, but here's the gank in this top
Oh,
side.
Doris could be in trouble from this one. We've got the Rylai's Crystal Scepter in there as well to keep him slowed. There's the equalizer going down. 760 is tanky enough to go into the turret. Bounces in. Less bounces than used. Good Cataclysm coming down, but they might try and turn this one around. There are the Strangle Thorns coming down. Zac may come back to life from this one. The damage is under the turret there, and that will be a nice little turnaround, ending in a 1-for-1 jungler for top lane. And it was Doris that needed to be killed. He's done a great job up until now. Handy little kill coming down for KMT.
Yeah, and Xaxus, I mean, he's 3-1-3 now. 197 CS. His damage is very high at this point, and when we start seeing these team fights break out a little bit more often, the whole crescendo, the Zac ultimate is really going to become powerful with his ulti following up as well. But right now, rest of KMT, they're just pushing this middle turret, and they got it down to about a third health.
Yeah, Last Whisper coming in for Celiver as well. That is a massive pickup for them. We've also got Karthus, who's sat on about 4 million. All right, 2,600 gold. Pretty close. A lot of gold to go back with here to be spending up. As he said, Death Cap is gonna be finished when he goes in there, but we'll see what actually he goes for after that. I wonder if we'll see Zhonya's come out of him for that extra bit of protection when it comes to the team fight, or whether he'll go a little bit harder into things and go something like Void Staff direction.
I think he can go for a Death Cap and the Archangel Staff, which should have turned to Ensar's Embrace.
That's true, he's got the Tear and the Blessing one already, so.
And that should just pretty much make his damage skyrocket here, not to mention his sustain and survivability in these team fights, which is really going to be a key point where, whoa, AT Gaming, they want to be able to burst him down.
Yeah, so Death Cap and the Archangels, one fair swoop there. Obviously, Ensar's Embrace, because the Tear was already stacked up there right from the start. So that is a very scary Karthus that's just appeared on this map. And if he wasn't doing enough earlier on with that Requiem, he now is up to almost 600 AP.
Damn. 28 minutes in. That is not a good sign for AT Gaming right now. But luckily for them, they do have a very good amount of wave clear. Just with the Varus Piercing Arrow, pair that in with the Grass Roots coming out of Zyra, they can hold on to turrets very well. And if anything, KMT luckily have a Caitlyn, so they have that ability to really siege turrets down. But if we see like a flash taunt come out of Doris, we could see AT Gaming going for an engage. However, against a Baron up KMT, I think they're just going to let this one fall.
Yeah, right now, probably not the best idea, but look at that. Karthus, a third pretty much of the damage there from Sliver when he's on his own to get that bonus. And right now, they're waiting right outside the door. And you can see AT like, nope, not going to try and defend that one. We have to back off. We have to give that one up against this Baron up KMT. And that will be the first inner turret of the game going down. They're going to head straight to bottom. Baron has now run out, though.
And with that extra turret, I mean, look, the thing is, what have they accomplished with this Baron, though?
An inner turret just now.
Right. I mean,
in the mid lane, not bad at all.
That is true. I mean,
it was more of an opportunity Baron, let's be honest. 25 minutes in, that's not your pre-planned Baron time, that's for sure. But get an ace, of course, you're going to pick it up.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I completely agree with that. I didn't even think about it that way. And, I mean, the extra gold you get from it. Also, if you do somehow force a fight, it's definitely going to help out. But with how far ahead right now they are in gold, 6,000 lead for them. Trying to go for another inner turret here. And I'm not sure if they can defend this, but they can definitely try.
Bad news when your Jarvan takes a third of his health from an ace in the hole to go straight through there. They still wait on this one. We are going to see Shen trying to relieve a little bit of pressure here from AT Gaming. Split pushing his top lane, but there comes the equalizer. Zac going to dive in. Oh, the Chain of Corruption pretty much missing everything here as well. And actually, they seem to have done enough to at least force KMT away for now. Those plants doing good damage to Celiver, but I think they're just going to wedge themselves in between the minions and AT here and just take away this turret without them really being able to do that much about it.
And with Doris showing top lane, I think it was more about KMT's like, all right, we see Shen, let's just go for it, because we know he won't be able to flash initiate on top of us, and with him actually being there, they're being a lot more hesitant to take this turret down, but with another minion wave coming in, should be another inner turret for themselves, taking it 5-2.
So here we go then. A couple of hits from Caitlyn and that turret is dead, as we are going to see Zac charging up and diving in. There's a crescendo. Stranglethorns only knocking Super A's into the air from this one. And already we see Doris getting one in there, but is it going to be enough? Actually, they're doing really well. Requiem comes down. Double kill for Doris. Xaxus is going to die here, and that's another one coming in. Triple kill for the Shen. 4 men for 3 taken away. And Doris is still chasing 760. Already used that Shadow Dash here. They're charging it up. Why did he cancel that one? I have no idea, but that's probably going to be him dead right now. He's pretty tanky, so lives through. There is Doris still chasing him down, though, and that would be an ace coming back What a crazy game. An ace for either side. These turrets falling left, right, and center, but AT bringing that one back. They still obviously have a gold deficit because of those turrets and the Baron and the Dragon that followed that they won earlier as well. But in terms of fights, that was pretty much spot on for them. Well, it was an ace. It doesn't get better than that, does it?
And that was a delayed quadra coming out of Doris. And the thing is, like I just talked about this, he was top lane. Then Keyamte's like, all right, we'll go for this turret. It should be pretty free. But he was there this time. And with him and Jarvan both diving in on the Caitlyn with the flash chunk coming in, they were able to kill him. So all the items he's been able to accumulate with the Last Whisper, the Phantom Dancer, the Eye Edge, doesn't mean diddly squat. And he's going to build towards a G8 now just to be able to survive against this. And Doris, just wow. His items, even going in with the Wit's End here, which was changed quite a while ago. It used to give you magic resist on hit, but it actually takes away magic resist from the target now. It gives it to yourself. So it's actually a very underused item, but a very powerful item.
As I said, my grandma's best friend was called Doris. But Doris is a different kind of machine here. That's definitely not an 80-year-old woman that we're seeing play this one. He is absolutely incredible this game so far. And, well, it started with just farming that top lane perfectly. Like, he had a lot of pressure from Xaxus, but it didn't... Wow, you've got to go back there and finish off the Dragon. There we go. Almost leave him before the Dragon actually goes down, but they will pick that one up and still leaves them with a very, very strong gold lead. And I still feel like KMT are feeling stronger at this point, that they're probably thinking we messed that team fight up.
Yeah, and I think right now that with that last fight that AT Gaming got, they kind of made their stamp on the game. They're showing like, you know, we're not out of this. Yeah, you got a Baron, yeah, you got a Dragon, 2 turrets, all that good stuff, and an ace right before, but we can still win fights on you, and you have to kind of be prepared for this. And right now, they're the ones going for Baron here, and KMT, they haven't really been able to respond just yet. They're waiting on the sides to make this engage happen.
Oh, there we go. 760 going to dive in. We will see Stan United getting involved in it. The equalizer not brilliant as Cataclysm comes down. They've gotten rid of Zyra from this one, but can they take the rest of them? There's a great crescendo coming through. Doris very tanky and is able to survive to half HP right now as he dives in onto the back onto Celiva, but he will be shot down here by Rumble. There is the death for Jarvan as well, and just like that, a 4-for-0, almost a complete swing of that last fight, but the same as the fight before that one. That's how crazy this game is.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think that was due to Doris being bottom lane. He was spotted, and the rest of KMT decided to go in. They have the damage to just burst someone down, which they're able to get Sliver. Actually, they didn't get Sliver. They engaged upon Sliver, but he was the one to actually escape right there. And Janitin, he doesn't have an escape mechanism. He doesn't have a Zhonya's yet. So he doesn't have that ability just to take some damage. Zhonya's out of it while his ultimate knocks people up and has the ability to escape.
So again, an absolute ton of gold KMT have gone on with, which means a Guardian Angel for Caitlyn, which means a Void Staff for Karthus. Again, 2 more terrifying items to add into that one. Even if you can get Celiva out, he's going to be coming back to life to haunt you from that. But we'll see if KMT can do better this time around with that Baron, because, as you said, first time, okay, they got an inner turret, and it was more of an opportunity Baron.
Yeah, I think you're right
this
on that
one has to count a lot more, in my opinion.
And yeah, I mean, they had AT Gaming go for it, which I'm not really sure why they did, especially off the back of an ace. I mean, they're still behind quite a bit in gold, and they must have been feeling very confident, but now it's a 10,000 gold difference almost at this point. You have major items coming in across the board for the entirety of KMT. Even Zaz is deciding to get a Void Staff, which when you ever see that, you usually see like a Zhonya's come in as a defensive item. Their damage is just going to be ridiculous here. Janitor without a Zhonya's isn't going to be able to survive, and Sliver, you see him going for his Banshee's Veil, it looks like, because he needs to be able to survive this burst that comes out of KMT.
Yeah, that'll be, or could be a big thing. You never quite know how big a role the Banshee's going to play, you know. It could be just one tick of a spell which really doesn't do that much.
Or it could be like a Requiem.
Or it could be a Requiem that it blocks, and that's the real big thing about the Banshee's Veil. And especially now, since obviously since quite a while, actually, that cooldown is shorter, than you're going to have it up more often to be blocking stuff. But with that Baron ticking away, let's see how much KMT can do with this one. As you said, it's close to a 10,000 gold lead. Like, that is a massive number at this stage of things. So let's see about that. And we see a Void Staff as well for Rumble. So in terms of magic damage, they are so on the mark at this point, and not too bad either when you look at Caitlyn.
Oh yeah, I mean, and right now it's really unfortunate for Sliver, because with that the Spectral's Cow, I mean, he doesn't have any attack speed, doesn't have a Last Whisper, and he kind of doesn't really need the Last Whisper against his team because there's not a lot of armor built up, but you're always going to need that, especially for your poke that you want to do against this team. And right now, without the attack speed, he he doesn't have a lot of sustained damage. He has to kill something to kind of get that extra bump in there. And then right now, there's no random wins. There's no attack speed slow for KMT. Wow. And honestly, I don't even think they're too worried about Silver. They just want to kill Janatan right off the bat.
Yeah, that's what they're aiming for. If they can keep that Stranglethorns out of the fight, that's actually a massive deal here. And they see once again Shen is not there, which means yes, he can come in with Stand United, but he's not going to flash engage. We are going to see the Jarvan diving straight on top. But Oof, you're locked up. You locked the Karthus up, and now he's flashed away and he's right on top of your team. Janatan is going to go down. There is a Requiem coming in as well. It's going to do a good amount of damage. We'll give him a double kill in the end. Where's the rest of KMT? They need to get involved with this one. Spike Knight tries to get up. They manage to lock down Sliver with the crescendo. His chain of corruption will spread, but this could well be the game here for KMT. It will be the game. In fact, they've got about a minute spawn time to come down, and what a performance. A very, very close laning phase. Aces for either team, and well, that opportunistic Baron that KMT picked up first of all, then losing an ace, and then winning the ace himself, picking up Baron number 2. This time they've really done it justice. They're going to win game number 1.
And you really have to appreciate the calls they're making to just go in. I mean, they saw where Doris was, they saw where Shen was, and they were like, all right, like, we can fight this, we can probably win this. And then Overpower just flashed into the back of the team. You saw the damage he did, and Janatan just didn't survive. He could not handle that many people in his face, and he didn't really have the ability to get the seedlings down to really kind of get the plants out. And he went for a Riley's Critical Scepter as his kind of defensive item to just stay alive, and unfortunately, it doesn't really help when you have this many people hitting you at the same time.
Sadly not. And again, we talked about